If you want to talk to Dorothea, you must go across the courtyard and take the stairs.
We've not been formally introduced. May I ask your name and occupation, sir?
I am Darius Petrescu. I'm here to keep snitches and spies away from Dorothea. And I also run this little print shop.
So Dorothy's real name is not Crane?
Like myself and many people in this area, Dorothea is from occupied Romania. That's all you need to know.
She seems important to the community.
More than you can imagine. The West End does not want to hear of Whitechapel's misery. Dorothea is one of the few doing something about it.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm almost convinced Camellia is an angel. She volunteered to give out our medical leaflets.
Are you not worried for her safety?
She is as brave as she is tough, and clever too. If only I had met her when I was younger.
Are you in love with Camellia, Mr. Petrescu?
Don't be stupid. If I had met her when I was younger, we could have won our revolution.
Who is she, really? Do you know where she's from?
She's not from around here, that's all we know. Camellia is not even her name. It's her favorite flower.
You say she has no close family?
Well, there's that awful poet who constantly follows her around like a lost puppy. A good man for sure, but a very poor writer.
Did you refuse to publish Richard Nethercott's previous works, Darius?
Yes, his manuscript is as pompous as he is starched. Now there's a man who loves the sound of his own voice.
You could have told him so.
As a great writer recently said, politeness is the most acceptable hypocrisy.
Do you have any family left, Mr. Petrescu? Children or grandchildren?
Who knows? I have abandoned my people for so long, they might as well be dead. As dead as I am for them, I suppose.
Don't be embarrassed, sir. If you must know, my own father disappeared many years ago, and I forgave him.
It's quite awkward to talk about our families like this, but thank you, Dr. Reed. I appreciate your trust.
This war won't last forever. Did you ever think of returning to your country now it's free?
No. I have taught strength and determination to my sons and daughters. I'm an old, dying man who only has memories of better times to cherish.
How is Nurse Crane these days?
I don't know what you told her, what kind of deal you made, but Dorothea seems less anxious recently. Thank you for that, Dr. Reed.
How did you meet Nurse Crane, Darius? Why does she trust you?
I'm her oldest friend in England. Dorothea and I share many ideas about this country and about the country we left.
You mean occupied Romania, don't you? Even if not directly, I fought against your enemies.
Really? Then perhaps you have more in common with Dorothea than meets the eye, Dr. Reed.
I know you fought for your country when it was occupied, Darius. Tell me more about it.
I know my days are numbered, and I know I won't see my homeland again. But I fought for Romania all my life, and I will until my last breath.
But Romania escaped the grasp of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It's a free country again.
But it's not the country I fought for. My homeland is not appeased, Doctor. And I still see a dark future ahead for my people.
Do you need some help, Mr. Petrescu?
I am very tired, but that is all. I don't need you, Doctor.
Well, I think you do. Take this, and you'll feel better.
Free drugs from an English doctor. It must be my lucky day.
Welcome back, Dr. Reed.
Good evening, nurse. How should I address you? Dorothy? Dorothea? Miss Crane?
Dorothy is all right. If you don't mind me calling you Jonathan.
That's fine with me.
What can I do for you then, Jonathan?
How is the sanitary situation in Whitechapel?
We have a lot of diseases, and not all linked to the epidemic. Maybe you could provide medical help to those in need.
How are things going in the dispensary?
Things are going fine since we made our arrangement.
Do you have many patients?
A few, but most of them just pass through and go back home, especially since those vigilantes stormed the building on the night you were here.
Have there been any more attacks by the uniformed men?
No. It looks like they have found another business to extort.
I hope you've stopped jeopardizing this facility with your illegal business, Dorothy.
Yes, I have. Most of the time. But the blackmail money is too useful to stop it completely. I just target less dangerous people.
Who is the current victim?
I would rather you did not know. You are my client, not my accomplice. Besides, I'm much more cautious since the first time you found me.
Why did you blackmail Lady Ashbury? She's a generous person. You could have asked her for money directly.
She killed those patients, I'm sure of that. I know you like her, but that gingerhead has a taste for blood.
Tell me about yourself, Dorothy.
There is not much to say. My real name is Dorothea Crasciunescu. I was born in Romania, and I may have been the best nurse Pembroke ever had, before you fired me.
Do you regret your time at Pembroke?
I miss the energy. There was so much to do, so much to learn. Even though I was double-crossing the board, I felt I was part of something worthwhile there.
Do you think about going back to Romania once the war is over and the epidemic here has been contained?
Jonathan, this war will be over long before you will see any improvement in Whitechapel's sanitary situation.
Do you need medical help, Dorothy?
I'm a professional nurse. Rest assured, I'll ask for your help if I need it.
Are you not afraid of dying? The epidemic is deadly and very contagious.
I'm more afraid of being locked in a cell. I've seen what most hospitals do to the sick staff. They keep them hidden to avoid panic.
Do you trust me?
You forced me to resign after you caught me trying to save a dying patient. Of course I trust you. You're a blackmailer, just like me.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia. Camellia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Hello, Camellia. How are you, partner? Come on, girl. Smile. Don't you know Dorothy and I have an agreement? We're on the same side. No? All right then, as you wish. Very well. Goodbye then. Are you all right, sir? What are you doing in a place like this?
I'm not sure that's any of your business.
I hope you realize that staying here will put your life at great risk.
Pah! I'm not afraid of these guards of Priwen, or whatever these thugs call themselves. I can still kick some respect into those youngsters.
I wasn't specifically referring to them, but are you really after these men? Why?
They took my boy! I've had no news since he joined that crazy gang. So I decided to come and find him myself, to get some answers.
I see. But as I said, your life is at risk if you stay here. And I'm not referring to the gangs either. You should leave, sir.
Well, this part of town used to be nicer, let's say. Perhaps you're right. This isn't the best way to save Andrew.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Poor boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour, but I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Good evening, madam. It's Dr. Reed again. May I come in?
You best come back in the morning, Doctor.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope Factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be?
You talking about the one everyone calls the sad saint? The man who takes care of the homeless?
The very same, Miss Fishburne.
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is. But if you ask around, I'm sure you'll get your answer.
I believe you may find this necklace of interest.
What is it? I don't understand.
It's a gift your son was hoping to give you. But I'm afraid it links him to the nearby murders.
You mean this belongs to one of his victims? Jesus. I knew this day would come. Please, Dr. Reed, accept this for your trouble and leave me be.
This day? You mean you already knew? Are you buying my silence? I will not be an accomplice in this.
What? No. No. My son's crimes distress me more than you can imagine. But I'm his mother. I love him, I do.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child. And he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I'm convinced you raised Seymour the best you could. You're not responsible for what he became.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished.
I take no pleasure from it. Just gives me peace. Stills the anger. For a time.
This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it?
I tried. For my mum. I tried for her. Telling the truth made me feel better. For a while.
Don't you think you should seek help? Talk to someone you trust, someone who cares about you.
No. And don't dare speak about me to your colleagues either. Keep your mouth shut tight. Especially about my mum.
Tell me about your victims, Seymour. Who were they? Why them? Was there a link?
Why should there be? They just kept getting on my nerves at the worst times, that's all.
How many? How many victims?
It's not like I keep records. It happens when it happens.
You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all?
You seem pretty calm yourself, don't you?
We're not talking about me.
That right? Well, our calm's the only thing we have in common then.
Why is your mother protecting you, Seymour?
I'm her son. She's the only one who knows me. Sometimes I think she knows me better than I know myself.
I understand you love her, but can't you see the awful situation you've put her in?
Do you think my mum would have a better life if I were dead? She seems so sad to know me sometimes.
I understand your mother's situation. Obtaining justice at the price of betraying her own flesh. It's quite a dilemma.
It might be my mum's wish that I end up swinging from a hangman's noose. But she wouldn't want to be the one who ties a knot round my neck.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes? So, Dr. Tippett, what brings you back here? I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Oh no, I don't gossip. That would be most unbecoming of a lady such as myself.
Who are the more influential figures on the docks?
Well, I heard about some terrible illness going around. I would say in that case that It's you, Dr. Tippets.
Is anyone taking care of you, Miss Gillingham?
My son is always here to take care of me. He's a good boy like that, but I do worry that he needs to start living his own life. Why, I would never say that to him, of course.
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Jack is dead, Miss Gillingham.
Of course he's not. I've seen him. Tonight, in fact. Ever the joker, Dr. Tippets.
I found this watch. It was a gift from you to your boy, wasn't it? I think it should return to you now.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I recall the day I offered Jack this watch. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. Thank you, sir.
Trinkets and possessions help us remember our past. Promise me you'll not lose it.
I would never lose anything that belonged to Jack. Why don't you take this? Dr. Tippets? Please, for your charity.
I'm looking for a Sean Hampton. Do you know where I might find him?
Sean Hampton, you say? Oh, the name does seem vaguely familiar, but alas, I cannot recall from where.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you need any help?
Rest assured, I will help you, sir. Martin Nightingale, at your service. Please, take a look at my wares.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
Let me be frank. You're as much of a businessman as I am a werewolf, right?
Who the hell are you to question me? It's hard enough to stay clean when you don't have a place to sleep. I'm doing my best here.
I meant no offense, Mr. Nightingale. I was merely pointing out the fact that you're unlikely to survive long if you continue wandering this path.
And what should I do then, sir? Should I join the Wet Boot Boys like so many others? No thanks. I'd rather be a bad seller than a dead gang member.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts?
Not really. Miss Gillingham smiles and says kind words, but I know she's lost her marbles, especially since her son died.
Tell me about this crazy woman. Madness is often mistaken for other conditions.
The poor woman's mad, all right. Kind and all, but she has so much trouble remembering things. She's taken me for a son more than once.
How interesting. I don't suppose you know what happened to her son.
Jack! Rumour has it he tried to tackle some gang lads. I didn't know him well, but I heard he was a nice enough chap. His old ma still thinks he's around.
Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help.
There's always the night asylum. Heard it's run by a very nice man, but I'm no beggar. Not yet, at least.
There is no shame in asking for help, my boy. Sometimes it can even be the best course of action.
I don't feel okay with that. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'll do it by myself.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I have your attention for a minute?
Good evening, sir. My name is Giselle Paxton, but I don't have time for men like you.
Have we met before?
No, but I just need to look at your fancy clothes to know that you must be desperate to visit the docks at night.
That's quite judgmental of you.
Sir, I've led enough strikes when I had a job to identify you as an enemy of the working class.
May I ask what you do for a living?
I'm killing myself scraping for a living. And you? Have you ever had to struggle in your entire life?
As I told you, I'm a doctor. You have to work a lot to earn that title.
Oh, a doctor. Born with money in a nice house, were we? Was Daddy a banker or a doctor himself?
Why such hatred? Are you judging me by my clothes and my job?
Course I am. Fuck, you're so blind. You don't even see your privilege. Lazy people like you disgust me.
What can you tell me about this vicinity?
Tell you what, just spend a few weeks here, and then ask me that question again. If you're still alive, I mean.
If you have something to say, say it. I'm getting tired of all this.
Oh. You want information instead? Well, here's some for you. Giselle Paxton does not like you at all, Doctor.
You don't know me, Miss Paxton, and yet you see me as an enemy.
Your manners, your clothes, your words tell me everything about you, sir. I know your kind, and you don't belong here.
Oh no, Miss Paxton, you really don't know my kind. You have no idea who I am.
All right, okay. No need to get all worked up.
You speak of strikes and class enemy. Am I right to assume you're involved in trade union activism?
You bet I am. Well, I was. Nowadays, I'm just another worker blacklisted by the big companies.
You lost your job because of your beliefs.
Those bastards really hate a worker who refuses slave wages and unsafe conditions, especially when it's a woman.
Isn't the whole point of trade unions to help workers in need? Why don't they support you?
A few nights back, I lost the money my companions had asked me to hide. With me and my sister being penniless, they thought I stole it.
What really happened?
I drank too much that night. Strange men saw me count the money in that bar. Some sort of militia in uniform. I'm sure they robbed me.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
What is it you want? Does he owe you money? Has he displeased your Royal Highness? I'm no snitch, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Can I help you?
A fancy doctor lurking at night by the docks? Not fishy at all.
And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town?
You want to know my secret? I'm trying to earn money. And I'm Lottie Paxton, by the way.
Is it not dangerous to work here at night?
As long as I have good legs, I can run away from trouble. The sad saint now provides me and my sister a bed and a roof. I don't want to lose that.
Are you homeless, Miss Paxton?
Mr. Hampton's night asylum is our new home now. It's a safe place for me and my sister.
What can you tell me about the sad saint?
It's just the nickname of Sean Hampton, the sad saint of the East End. He gave me shelter, and he is not always sad.
What can you tell me about this place? How are things here?
It may be okay for a strong girl like me, but a dandy doctor from the city like yourself, you better watch your back, Mr. Reed.
You really think I should go back to a safer place, miss?
No, I think you had better stay and help as many people as you can. Just avoid the wet boot boys. Those bastards are worse than the epidemic.
Which local dangers must I avoid?
Well, the gangs, the thieves, the drunks, the jobless. A man with your fancy clothes will attract a lot of attention.
Well, I am not someone so easily intimidated.
Glad to hear that. And if you get into trouble, you can always seek help at Sean Hampton's shelter. No one would dare to be violent there.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
Mr. Hampton must be in his office at the night asylum he manages, I suppose. Why do you want to see him?
He was a patient of mine at the Pembroke Hospital, but he left abruptly.
I see. Well, Mr. Hampton is a discreet and dedicated man. I'm sure you'll find him soon enough.
Why the long face, Doctor?
Is it all that worries you, Sean? My long face? Really?
This is a blessing for me, to become a Skal. Immortality gives me more time and energy, if truth be known, to run a shelter. What more could I want?
Since you left Pembroke, the amount of blood that has been shed, it's hard to believe you, Sean.
Ask what you will. As the Lord is my shepherd, I will not speak a lie to you.
Aren't you afraid of what you've become?
We are blessed, Doctor. Can't you see it? The Lord has made us able to walk amongst the plague and aid those that need it.
Do you think this is a blessing when God's own house and holy symbols repel you?
If that is your burden, Doctor, so be it. But I do not fear the cross, nor am I forced to take the life of another. My kind doesn't share your imperfections.
But you must drink blood now to survive.
No, not your scripture. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So saith the Lord. I only need to eat flesh, no blood.
Why return here?
This is my home. These people are my flock. You will always find me where I am needed.
Wonders never cease. Skal managing an asylum.
And what of you? A vampire doctor? Meals laid out before you. Yet you restrain?
And what about William Bishop? He tried to take care of you. But this hunger, this thirst, cannot be restrained.
Alas, poor William. He had a good soul, but was weak in spirit. He could not shake the thirst for booze, never mind blood. But have faith, my will is far stronger than his.
Why did you kill Miss Jones at the Pembroke Hospital?
Killed old Harriet? You must be mad, Doctor. Why would I do such a thing?
So you claim Miss Jones' death was not by your hand, nor the other incidents at Pembroke?
Though Harriet was an angry, spiteful woman, she was one of God's creatures. I have nothing but love for all he has made.
But you were close to her?
Of course. But she was lost, separated from the fold. She did not see the hand of the divine in my blessed condition.
People have been murdered. I've seen the blood. I don't believe you can be trusted.
Have a little faith, Doctor. If you will follow, I will guide you to the light.
How do you plan to do that?
Take this key of the old sewers. The entrance is by the riverbank, south from here. There you'll find all the proof you need.
Very well. You have definitely intrigued me. I hope you're right, Sean.
I'll be here when you return. If you still think I'm a threat then, well, I surrender myself to your judgment.
Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
I'm afraid your posters were destroyed.
It cost me good money to print those posters. Such a pity people don't take the vampire menace seriously.
Did you really think the posters would be useful?
See the sad saint of the East End? How a single man can help so many people? I consider myself the discreet protector of these men and women.
Tell me, Ichabod, why do you consider yourself the protector of Sean Hampton's shelter?
He is a truly inspiring example. Dedicated, pious. His shelter is open to all, whoever they are. Most admirable.
You've never faced, let alone killed, a vampire, Ichabod. You're a fraud.
No, I'm not. I may embellish the truth concerning my achievements, but I'm totally dedicated to my quest.
Stop fooling yourself. You've never faced a vampire before. You wouldn't stand a chance.
Well, that's not true, sir. I've already faced one of these creatures.
Oh, really? And you're still alive.
Well, we did not actually fight. I let it go.
What do you mean?
I entered the vampire's den. The stench was terrible. I was ready to kill it. But then I saw it. Just a suffering soul like you and me. I spared her.
Tell me about the vampire you spared.
It was... She was a girl. Her body was a mess. I could see pus running from the deep wound. She was crying in pain.
You cared about her. That's what defines us as human, Ichabod.
Yes, but she was a truly evil creature. I'm haunted by the tragedies she caused ever since I spared her.